Here, I think 10. We're waiting for a couple more.
Well, that's pretty impressive.
They're supposed to be here a month ago.
I know. I've been waiting for buses since 2020.
It's
Don't
not
tell
plugged
me.
in.
And we're
We're actually gonna.
Oh, we don't want it. Could be.
You don't wanna plug it in time?
Vaccine that
Yeah,
we're getting.
so we're actually gonna.
Oh,
No, we'll want you.
then everybody's.
So everybody goes up past this speed line.
Loudly.
Okay.
Shout.
The 22nd on the near setting. Did I tell you?
Grand Forks County Commission will come to order. All commissioners are present. The first matter before us is the approval of the minutes.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Ross to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Knopf. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. Next is the approval of the order of the agenda, and we do have one addition.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
could we add the Kate Slominski, a special use permit on number 7?
That would be fine. Do we have a second to that?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, Ms. Slominski will come up right after Human Resources. The lady right over there. All right. Do we have a motion to approve the order of the agenda then?
Mr. Chair, I'll move approval.
Thank you. Second.
Consent agenda.
Second by Commissioner Engen. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Next on the list is the approval of the consent agenda. Do any commissioners have any items they'd want pulled? Hearing none, can we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Ross. Is that a second, Mr. Engen? You had your hand up.
Apparently.
We're going to go with that as a second by Commissioner Engen. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next is the Larimore Certification of Significant Community Support.
Mr. Chair, that'd be Ms. Ritz, who's on Zoom.
Oh, okay.
Hello, can you all hear me?
We can. Go ahead.
Perfect. Well, thank you for allowing me to speak today. City of Larimore came to you back in 2020 asking for a similar letter of support when they move forward with a citywide utility improvement project. So over the last 2 summers, the city has replaced nearly all of its water, sewer, and storm throughout the community. At this stage, we are finishing up our utility improvements and working with USDA to secure a loan to repave all of those streets over those utilities. And like back in 2020, the USDA loan program that we are going through requires that we collect this certification of significant community support. And what this is, it's not obligating the county in any way. It is basically saying that, yes, we generally approve of this project and the efforts of the city. And this project is not in conflict with any county plans. And given that it's, within city limits, it's city streets, we don't anticipate any conflict with county plans or county projects. So at this stage, we're asking for approval and signature if you're willing.
Okay, very good. Let me ask the commission, do we have any questions? Ms. Ritz? Yes, Commissioner.
Mr. Chair, yes, I just have a question, Ms. Ritz. Have you been in touch with Lane Magnuson, the county planner, to make sure that the projects that you're doing have no they're not in competition or they're not under compliance with our county planning and zoning?
You know, I guess I haven't reached out. This has all been within city limits. I know we have a county highway that goes through town, but this road improvement excludes the county highway. So I have not been in touch with him at this time, outside of any environmental work that our engineers might have done.
I don't know that we'd have, Bob and I are on the planning and zoning.
Yeah,
I
I
don't know
don't
that
think
we'd have
that'd be
any
an issue.
Just to be aware, so
Jurisdiction
that
over-
Lane's aware that that's taking place. He
Yeah.
may not
I
be.
think that our man, Mr. West, might have more concerns than anybody, but it's in their city limits, so I think it's all under their control.
Mr. Chair, that would be correct.
Yeah, are there any other questions? Yes, Mr. Lynn.
This is not, this doesn't affect us in any way. It's an informational kind of thing, but they do want us to agree that looks like a good project. That's all it is, I think.
Correct.
Is that a fair assessment, Ms. Ritz?
Yes.
I think we've done similar things before.
Yeah.
Well, on this project. we did.
Yeah.
Okay, is there a motion to support the request of certification of significant community support?
I'll make a motion. The only caveat, I would move that we approve the Larimore certification of significant community support. I just would like to make sure that the planning and zoning director is notified and he approves of it, and then the letter should be put together and sent to the city of Larimore.
I think we sign off on this form though.
Yes, yes,
Commissioner Beach, I'll take that on. I'll make sure Mr. Magnuson's aware.
thank you.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second,
Second by Commissioner Ross. Any further discussion?
I think it needs chair signature.
signatures.
Okay, and that is part of your motion, Commissioner?
Yes,
Pete?
yes.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes, and we'll add a signature line for Mr. Magnuson on that form.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Ritz. When we get that back to her, we're gonna mail it.
Scan and email us.
She's gone already. All right, we'll get it back to her. Human Resources is next.
Good afternoon, Chair Folk and Commissioners. I would like to have a brief introduction of our new IT Director, Evelyn Halverson, who has joined us on the 16th of August. I told her that she didn't need to do from A to Z everything, but that she could come on up, introduce herself, and if you had any questions. But I'd like to say that so far, things have been working very well.
Thank you, Michelle. Chairman, Commissioners, I appreciate the opportunity to come and meet everyone. Just a little bit about myself. I'm married. I have 4 spectacular children. I've spent the last 17 years of my career at the City of Grand Forks. Now I'm very excited to become a member of the county. I've been working in the IT department with the IT staff. They've been more than helpful. It's a lot to wrap my head around, all the different infrastructure, but we're learning and they're right there helping me. I'm just very appreciative of it.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Good to have you.
Thank you.
Okay, anything more from Human Resources?
That's it.
Oh.
Taking it easy on you.
Okay, very good. Then we'll move to Ms. Leminski from the Fun Lounge is here for a special use permit.
Yes, we have a wedding dance, private wedding dance out at Terry Longton's residence out on the north side of town. And we're just asking for the special permit to be approved.
Sheriff Schneider, do you have any comments on it?
Chairman, Paul, members of the commission, I just talked talked with her this morning and received a special permit or the licensing, not licensing, I'm sorry, security request this afternoon. So I'll be in contact with the homeowner regarding that. It doesn't look like we should have any concerns at this time.
This is. It's in the county, it's outside the city, that's correct. Questions? Yes, Mr. Rob.
Comment. We usually see the paperwork on these things before we vote.
Late on that.
I'm sorry.
You got it.
The original we need that.
Oh,
Okay,
so we have something.
looks like a standard request, and it looks like that residence is at 4496 North Columbia Road.
Correct.
I'll pass this down so everybody can look at it.
And you've done these occasionally, I understand.
Yes. We usually don't do them outside of city limits, but this is our second one, and that's, we have the Greenway takeover this week, and I just kind of lost track of time with everything.
And when is this set for?
September 17th.
And the fee? The fee,
We have to check.
we have it, okay.
For the important things.
Yeah, it's overwhelming.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I would move approval of the application for special event permit and the alcoholic beverage license for this special event with the chair's signature.
And contingent on the sheriff not having any problems down the road.
Yes, continue.
Yeah, that's fine. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Knopf. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Sign off on it.
Thank you.
Mr. West. I think you have a long agenda this afternoon. We have the time for you.
Thank you. Chairman Fall, members of the board, got a few items for you. You sure you didn't skip over a couple guys before me here?
Well, the planner and public health are not going to be here today.
Oh, perfect. Okay, didn't want to take their spot. Caught me off guard there, I was sleeping. First item for consideration is our annual review of federal aid projects. So this would be our list of future projects that we would have in the queue for federal aid projects. First line item is our next paving job, which is going to be in a few years. As you can see, our current allotment, we're 76,000 in the hole. Which as is planned, as we did a big paving job this year, so we knew that was going to happen. Good news is I don't know if you noticed that, but the estimated allotment at 661,000, that's a pretty big jump for an annual injection of money. It wasn't that long ago, it was 400 and 450,000, so that would be an increased federal highway bill is kicking more money toward us, so that helps. And then the bridge program, those are our three projects that we just got approved recently, would be on that list as well too. So with that, I would ask for approval of this list, and this would be presented at the October conference meeting. Association of Counties Conference, when we have our meeting with them. Any questions?
Questions, anyone?
Make a motion to approve.
Thank you. Motion approved. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Knopf. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you. And with our federal aid bridges, we did solicit RFPs for consulting engineers. We did get 4 submittals. I would look for recommendations or advice on who to be on that selection committee. It'd be nice to have 3 people on it. Doesn't have to be a commissioner, certainly can. thoughts on that?
Chair and highway portfolio commissioner to sit on that.
You're shooting for commissioner of the year here, aren't you? And we appreciate you volunteering very much.
And would the second one be Nick or would it be someone else?
Well, can you sit on it? Nick, obviously you should be on it. Then you need a third. Okay,
It'd be nice. It could be a staff member, it could be another commissioner, it could be anyone.
staff from your department,
Could be.
they're probably more knowledgeable than we are, is my guess, on these problems.
It'd be either our superintendent or our office technician, project manager.
Yeah, that'd be a good experience for
Yeah.
them. All right.
Sounds good.
Can we have a motion to appoint the superintendent out of the county highway department, Mr. West, and Commissioner Knopf to the selection committee? Big structures.
I would.
Okay, we have a motion, second by Commissioner Ingen. Any further discussion on that matter? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion is passed.
Thank you. It's been a while since we've talked about this next topic. That was back in December of 2019. We discussed our two historic bridges and moving ahead with the replacement project on them. And I obtained approval at that time. Since then, done some work on those bridges, and we did get a consultant on board to help us through the environmental approval. We are now finally to a point where we're ready to make some kind of a decision one way or another. And what it basically boils down to is, does the county want to infuse the money to relocate them? Because during the process, we did have to solicit for adoption of these bridges, and both bridges do have a willing recipient for them. I was gonna say donor, that's wrong, willing recipient. However, neither one of them want to cost share in the moving of them or, you know, rebuilding a new abutment or foundation to put them on. And so the one up by the, we call it the Midway Bridge, City of Gilby would take that. I got some cost estimates, just to move the bridge itself. Schmitz would do that for about 10,000. We need a new abutment in there, and so to drive, you need a special crane with pile driving on it. There's on the level, it's a small contractor up in Park River, they do that for 40,000. I estimate the material for that, about 20,000, we would have that on hand. And I figure about 10,000 for county equipment costs, and miscellaneous items to go in there too. So not that our cost would be out of pocket, but there is value in there as well. I did get a quote from Swinging as well too for it. They were a little bit higher, so I didn't just get one, but I figure all in it's about 80,000 to move the bridge and set it on a new foundation. If we wanted to just demolish the bridge altogether, I figure about 8,000. That includes some of our time as well too. The other bridge down by, we call it the Oss Valley Bridge, down by the East Village Church. Costs about 47,000 to move that, and that doesn't even put it onto a foundation. So there's a gentleman out in Brennan Township that would just take it and it would sit on his lot. And he wants to make he has intentions of making a park for people to go to and things like that. Right now, it's just a bunch of old equipment just sitting there. But he's willing to take it, but doesn't want to contribute any money to that. That would cost, I figure, about 47,000 to relocate that. The biggest thing there is we got to get it across the interstate, and there's all kinds of overhead power and things to get around, and we might have to like take some guardrail off a bridge to get it through and put a guardrail back up potentially. So there's some coordination and some work there, but possible. It's certainly doable, so. I would ask the board to either authorize spending the money to relocate them, or we would move forward with demolition of them, with the replacement of them.
Commissioner
So
Knopf,
what's the demo on the, not the Midway, but the other one,
About 8,000 is what you about.
8,000 there?
Yeah.
And so for $16,000,
Take care of the problem.
we could take care of the problem versus $130,000. And so my recommendation would be to demolish.
any other comments here?
As much as I hate to see that, but I don't see that we should have to pay the costs on this. I mean, you know, that's just, I don't think a good way to spend our taxpayer dollars.
Well, the one bridge, the last one would be just sitting out somewhere in a field, like. I'm not
There's
sure.
attraction.
That's correct.
Yeah, and that's,
Minor one.
and nobody wants to put any money forward on either one of these. What would Gilby do with it, that other bridge?
Currently, right now, they have an aerial photo of where they have existing walking bridge that goes between the railroad tracks and County Road 2, that people that live on the west side of County 2 can get access into town. And they would just simply replace that. They have a bridge there that works. Wanted something different, or, you know, preserve a little history and gave us an option. But they don't have much money, so.
I would think if it was really a serious request, the thing would be cost sharing. And to just say, please do this for us. This is not a good year to be asking for extra cash when we're making tough decisions every time.
Right.
Not.
And I'm into historic and keeping things and, you know, but not, you know, we just can't afford that. I don't think.
I agree.
Do we, did you make a motion to demolish the bridges?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Did we have a second then?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Engen. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None opposed.
Thank you. Just another note there is this decision will be brought forward to Federal Highway Administration for their approval, so it might take a few months before we could actually do anything with these yet, so just so you're aware, you know, construction's not gonna happen tomorrow or anything like this, so there's a process that needs to be followed. So one bridge, we have a culvert on hand already, the other one, we need to order a box culvert, so
Yeah, that was
that would be,
my question there. Yeah, $8,000 to move the bridge. Does that include putting the box culvert in then, or is that part of your other process?
that'd be separate. Yeah, this is just dealing with the existing bridge and what we do with it.
I was optimistic. I didn't think so.
No, a double box culvert will be
A lot.
150, 200. Thank you. The next item for consideration is our Gilby shed. As you probably remember, we're in the process of rehabilitating one shed a year. This year, we're doing Inkster shed, which is going okay. It's going okay. It's just very slow out there right now, but that's okay. The Gilby shed is next. And with that, this is a while ago too. I think back in 2020 or 2019, I brought to the board that I had a boundary survey done, and part of our shed is on the neighbor's property by 6 feet. And the reason this got put off is because we were going to do Gilby, but we changed it to Inkster, so this got put on the back burner for a year. Now I'm digging back into it because I hope to do it next year. But, so I contacted the landowner that owns it, and it's the Hoppegard family with Hoppegard Equipment, and asked, could we buy a little sliver of land so at least our building is on our property, and oh, hey, maybe could we buy a little bit on the west side of the shed too? And she goes, well, how about you just buy a whole bunch of it from us? We don't want it anymore. So that's where, which was shown on this sheet here, how that came about is they would like to get rid of it. They would like to sell it to the county, and that would be great. They would give us a spot to park some equipment. We needed a temporary place to put a small pile of gravel or store materials or anything. we have the ability to do so. Right now, the lot is basically the building and just a little bit of place for the guy to park his car on the south side. That's it. So if we could have a little more space, it would be great. I thought the price was pretty reasonable. They're willing to sell it for 8,000. Currently, the county assesses it at 5,900. So I didn't think that was too bad. And a total acreage would be half an acre or 0.505 acres. I would make a request to the board that we purchase the remainder of lots 7 and 8, all of lots 9 and 10. County little land in Gilby.
So these lots are actually in the city of Gilby itself.
Oh, correct, yes. Yeah, it's right south of the John Deere dealership.
You had said you'd like to have the lot, or you'd like that land to possibly use.
Yeah. My minimum request to her was I'd hope to buy 7 and 8. That little, it's 80 feet on the west side of our shed, and then just a little sliver on the north side, so at least our building was on our property, and then they suggested, well, how about you just buy all of 9 and 10? Okay. And that is one parcel in our GIS system, so.
Okay. I think Commissioner Peach might have a question.
I do have a question. Do you have money in your budget to support this purchase? Okay. Mr. Chair, I would move approval for the highway department or roads and bridges to purchase the remainder of lots 7 and 8 and all of lots 9 and 10 for $8,000
At Gilby.
in Gilby.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Ross. Any further discussion?
I have a comment. So would it be prudent for us to go back with a counter offer? I mean, if it's valued at 5,900 and she's asking 8,000.
That's assessed value, though, isn't it? Rather
Is
than
it?
It's not appraised value by an appraiser.
Oh, assesses the proposed land. What is that?
That's the county. We assessed that land at 5,900. That's what their property tax value would be based on.
I still think we should go back with a counter.
The limited amount that we would get counter, I don't think it's gonna.
Well,
I mean, that's what I would
Yep,
assume.
and that's fine. It's just my comment.
That's pretty reasonable for half an acre, right?
Right.
That's pretty reasonable. I would assume.
We want the land. We don't want somebody else buying it to jump in there first.
Yeah, we have a problem right now.
Yes, we
Our
do.
building is on their land. That, regardless of any rehabilitation or changes, that's an issue. That should be
Yeah,
fixed, but-
they
How long
call the
has the shed
shots
been
on
there,
that
though?
one. Huh?
Shed's been there for many years, right?
Oh, gosh,
I
yes.
think we're safe on that regard, but
Yeah.
even so, we should fix it.
We have a motion from Commissioner Peach. Did we have a second?
I had a second.
We have a second. Okay. We had discussion. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Maybe you can work with Ms. Wamstead at the Apple Guards to take care of it.
Thank you. My last item for consideration is the Witt property. That's the property we hope to buy the house, demolish the bridge. Okay. That's was all geared up to, we were hoping to do this a year from now. And last week he got a hold of me and there's some health issues in the family and they're transferring quick. And he made a comment to me, said, well, could the county buy that in 2 months? And I said, I don't think so. I don't think that's even possible if we wanted it to happen. But regardless, he would like to sell it as soon as possible. I told him, like, optimistically, if everything fell in line, maybe December, November. I mean, even if everything falls through, that would be best case scenario. I did get a hold of Department of Emergency Services. From their end, they think they can move that fast. We could do something later this year or early next year. From their end, all they would need is the letter, chair's signature on local match letter that we're willing to pay our local match. The good news is that originally this is a 75-25% split grant, but due to, I'll just call it COVID money, that grant has changed for just the interim for those years to a 93.7% match. So the county match is down to 7. Which is good. But the other thing I learned is that it's a reimbursement grant. So the county has to front the money. So when it comes time to write the landowner a check, we write them a check, we submit that, and 4 to 6 weeks later, we should be reimbursed. So that's something I didn't know, but I have an estimate in the back or on page 3. We did an appraisal if the board remembers back in late 21 gave me permission to get approval for appraisals. We did that. I got one appraisal, it's $390,000 value for the property. In the spreadsheet, I used $400,000. I'm just assuming it's a year later, it's going to be worth a little more. Don't know how much. I figured the grand total of the project's $429,200, of which I estimate the county share to be $37,200. I think that'll go down because the demolition, if we do 100% of that in-house, then we can get credit back on that. So, but if there is something I need to hire out, you know, then that would be cost share as well too. I don't think so with our excavator, and we're gonna have a mild winter, right? So we got plenty of time to do this. That we can do that for on the pocket about $37,000. I'm here to ask for approval to move forward with this process. There are stipulations to this because if the county buys the property, we own it, and then there's deed restrictions. And I have the master copy of those here, of which state's attorney has not reviewed this yet, but in summary, he can narrow it down to, we can't put anything permanent on that again. That can't be flooded. Nothing that goes on there would need emergency access during times of flood. So they have a list of things like you could have a park out there with a bathroom, and if it's flooded, it's okay. And it's up high. And we have to maintain these deed restrictions on that property forever. This is nothing new, and it would be the same requirements as our bill of property that we're procuring up there as well too. So to me, this is a really great deal because we get rid of one of the worst bridges in the county forever. And we don't put anything back. So
my question is, and maybe somebody else has one, others also, but can we let this go back to like native prairie so we don't have to maintain that area? Or?
Absolutely, that's our intent.
Great.
My intent is once we procure the property, demolish everything, we level the dikes, plant native grass back on it, and we leave the bridge up for a year or two so we can get back there and spray weeds or mold if we have to. Once that grass is established and we're comfortable with that, then the bridge comes out.
Sounds like a great plan for the county, so. Any other questions of Mr. West on this? Yes.
Can the sheriff use it for tactical before you demolish it?
Yes, they can. Well, I got a verbal approval on that.
Okay.
Yes. They can do their forced entry.
I know how,
And I get to-
I
I get
know how
to
they
witness.
work. You probably don't have to demolish anything, but I'm just saying.
Now, the next question we have is from Ms. Nelson. We have to front about $430,000 roughly. Can we do that out of?
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, yes, we do have the funds spare for 6 weeks.
Okay. All right.
Chair, I make a motion to approve the request of the highway department to purchase the property and like this property without a specific amount, but it looks like 429,000 or less. Is that the accurate?
That's my estimate.
And let's see. Stipulation that they just move as fast as possible and we will be reimbursed within 4 to 6 weeks after the county funds the fund. If that works out, I think it's a good.
I would second that motion.
We have a motion, and a second. Any other discussion on this one? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes.
Thank you very much. That is all I have for official requests.
You want to stick around for this next, altering County Road 5?
Absolutely.
We have questions from you.
Absolutely, yeah. We are putting a new concrete deck on America's Bridge tomorrow. If you want to see a crane set a new deck on. Let me know. Kind of cool. It'll be the last called quad T deck in the state. After that, they're moving to a box girder beam. It's nothing real special about that. It's just different style, and it comes down to manufacturing techniques and what forms and equipment they have to manufacture them. But yeah, so, and that was one of them on that list in August that we were and to post a bunch of bridges. But we had this one coming about a year ago, so. Okay, let me know.
Next matter before us is a petition to alter County Road 5. Do we have somebody here on that, or do we just have the petition in front of us?
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, I don't know if anybody's coming for this or if it's something that the commission just needs to take action on.
Mr. West, have you looked at that petition to alter County Road 5 that was presented to us?
Chairman Falk, members of the board, not in detail. I'm aware of it. I haven't read it in detail though.
This question, this is just a jog around the airport?
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. We could look at that all day and without knowing, without being engineered ourselves to read the descriptions, we wouldn't really be able to make a reasoned decision except to accept the fact that they have it right. Maybe you know that.
I don't think he does, but I think what I'm gonna propose is that we move along, and I've got a copy here that maybe Mr. West could take a look at.
Okay.
And see if he has any problems with it, and we'll just put it down to the bottom of our agenda and give you time to read through it. I think it's all in order, but.
Okay. I'm certainly aware of the project. I've been involved. The road's closed right now. They're paving it. It's gonna be open soon. I've been actually deeply involved in that project more than I should have been.
Well, and who's taking care of the cost and all that? The airport authority?
Airport.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Mead and Hunt is the contractor or the architect for that, the design. And I'm sure they followed every procedure just to make sure that there's the appropriate approvals to make those changes.
From the engineering standpoint, I think the project's good and going well. From the legal side and those items, I'm not sure. So, but I can read through it and see if anything pops out.
Okay, I'll give it to you. We'll just double check, dotting the i's and crossing the t's. So we'll put number 10 on hold, and then we'll hear from our finance and tax director on 4 items.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, I would like an early voting precinct at the Alara Center, November 1st through November 4th at 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Tuesday through Friday, and Saturday, November 5th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So I request a motion for that.
A motion.
We have a motion from Commissioner Ross for the early voting and absentee ballot precincts. Is that both?
Do you want to do both in that one motion? Because I'd also like an absentee ballot precinct for the November 8th, 2022 election.
Okay.
Is that all right if we put that in your motion?
Let's make two,
Commissioner
well, let's make two separate ones then.
We'll do two separate.
Okay. So we've got a motion by Commissioner Ross. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Knopf. Any further discussion on the early voting precincts? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is passed. Then the absentee ballot precincts?
Yes, I would like to have an absentee ballot precinct for the November 8th, 2022 election. We will start the 7th and finish the 8th.
Mr. Chair, I would move approval of the absentee ballot precinct.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Engen. Any further discussion on that matter? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, on August 2nd, you approved a resolution for public sale of limited tax capital project funds bond series 2022. We were not able to have our rating call timely, so we need to postpone for a month. And so this is a new resolution with the sale being October 18th. And this motion or this resolution also rescinds the motion that you made August 2nd. And I don't know if we should have it just as part of this resolution, or they should actually rescind their motion from August. Maybe, because then it's in the minutes and I can see. So if we could first have a motion to rescind the approval of a resolution made on August 2nd for the sale of public sale of limited tax capital project bond series 2022.
And that date was to be what date?
September 19th.
September 19th, we were gonna do that. Okay.
Yes. And
Very
so
good.
now this is the motion to rescind that.
Yeah, okay. Everyone understand?
Move
Okay.
approval exactly as you stated.
Excellent.
She read it as it's written here.
Yeah, okay, we've got that. Do we have a second on that? Second by Commissioner Knopf. Any other discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Now we move on to the resolution for public sale. And when was it?
So the sale will be October 18th. So I need a motion to approve the resolution providing for public sale of limited tax capital project bond series 2022.
Mr. Chair, I would move approval of
Okay,
that
yeah.
resolution.
Thank you. We have a motion from Commissioner Peach to approve the sale of the bonds as indicated on our screen, and we have a second from Commissioner Ross. Any discussion on this? Pardon me? Chair signature.
Yes.
Thank you.
You have a comment? or-
Yes.
We have to have a separate motion then to tell the auditor it caused written notice in the newspaper, or should that be added to this motion? It's on the form. so that's all.
And it's going to be done by the bond council.
Oh, sure.
Noticed by them.
Okay, so we don't have to worry about that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, as I recall. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Mr. Chairman, on your desk, you have a notice of bond sale that I just received this afternoon. So I didn't get time to scan this in ahead of time. So bond council provided me with this afternoon. I also need approval of this notice of bond sale. And it has been reviewed by Swampscott.
We'll fill in the blanks.
That will be done by bond council.
Bond council.
Yeah.
Do you need a motion or have you already signed this?
No, I need a motion.
So the signature. Couldn't tell if you actually signed it before.
In your motion, Ms. Nelson.
Approve the notice of bond sale.
Okay. We have a motion. Motion by Commissioner Knopf to approve the notice of bond sale on the correctional center project. Do we have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Second by Commissioner Peach. Any other discussion on this matter? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Chairman, members of the commission, my last item is, we have found through being audited this year that we would need to have a policy on auditing our sub-recipients of the FERPA funds. And so the policy that you have in front of you is one that I copied from Grand Forks City. And I have submitted it to the state auditor for their review. I did not hear back from them. So I'm requesting that we approve this policy for auditing our sub-recipients.
If the state decides differently, then we'll just make an amendment to it.
Then I might have to come back.
Okay, that'll be great.
Number 4, the bottom of that is Nelson.
Oh, it doesn't.
Oh, there's a 5. Okay, thank you. Mr. Chair,
Yes,
I would move approval of accepting the subrecipient monitoring policy.
we have a second. Second by Commissioner Knopf. Any further discussion or any discussion on this matter? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion passes. We're down to Director of Administration, it looks like.
Mr. Chair, I have nothing for the board this evening.
The State's Attorney?
I have nothing, Mr. Chair.
Committee reports. Let's start down in the end with Commissioner Peach.
Just to let you know that the airport authority went through with the project that they did in the last 10 days when the airport was closed. The plant that they had operating, that they had contracted to make the kind of easement between the two runways was finished very well. There was little rain, there were little issues taking place. The goal of the project was to be completed by Saturday. On Saturday, there was a Delta flight coming in the afternoon, as well as the University of North Dakota was going to be flying out for a football game. Oh, Friday, I apologize. Friday, the University of North Dakota was going to be flying out to Nebraska for a football game. That all went through successfully. There are now plans being done currently at the airport to build a new facility for the customs building. And so a new customs building will be coming up at the expense of the federal government. And there is also plans that a new tower is going to be built. And that will be significantly higher than the current one is right now. The airport is doing very well. Funding from ARA certainly was good. They continue to look for another airline that is willing to provide service to the west of Grand Forks instead of everything going through Bismarck or going through Minneapolis. But right now, things are going well. The Red River Regional Council is looking to have an annual review or an annual plan, looking at their goals and continuing to develop the 5-year plan for the council. That date hasn't been set yet, but I believe it's going to take place sometime late October, early November. Other than that, I think that's about all I have.
Okay. Commissioner Knopf.
September 8th. It's Thursday, I guess. I'll be participating on a phone call with the North Dakota Association of Counties Resolution Committee. So it's the first I've ever done anything like that. So if there's anybody that has been or sat on that committee before, I'd appreciate hearing from you. But they haven't sent out the agenda or anything listing the topics. So and then library board on the 21st and motor grader training on the 22nd.
I want a picture.
Before and after.
A video.
I won't be, I'll be at the training, but I'm not driving.
Oh, God.
No,
Give it a
no,
shot.
no. I've been there to do that in the past and I won't be driving.
Commissioner Engen.
Yeah, that was at a portion of the Grand Sky ribbon cutting thing for TMRC. And that was pretty astounding to see what's going on out there, see all those aircraft lined up. And they had one of the brand new aircraft, all in white, the Skyhawk is written on the side of it. And this project for the Grand Forks area is kind of mind-blowing is how good a project that is to have here. So that was fun to see. And the other thing is I was at the EDC meeting. Last month's EDC meeting, Mr. Ford and I spoke up in favor of home rule for the county. And we talked about all of the factors of it, to question 1, question 2. They put it off for a month because they wanted to kind of take a look at what we had. And at the meeting, the EDC did approve, is willing to go on record as approving the county getting home rule. They deferred the question of the sales tax for whatever reasons, but they will revisit that as we get closer, so they get further information. And in the process of that discussion, it was brought up by some pretty thoughtful people about the tax relief portion of the sales tax if it passes. We got 60, 20, and 20, 20% tax relief. The suggestion was made that people maybe won't understand that we maybe do intend to drop the mill levies that we've put in place for the correctional center in some fashion as we go forward. But it's pretty vague at this point. And the question kind of came out was, well, do you think the taxpayers will believe you if you don't really say you're going to do this? And my question is that something we can give some firmness to, whether it's this meeting or the next meeting? But that might assist us in explaining the home rule at the town halls and that kind of thing.
I don't think it's vague at all. I think we've been pretty upfront from the very beginning. Yes, the sales tax, the 60% is 7 mil. So that's,
If we can say it that.
I don't know how we can say it any clearer.
Well, we can't do that right away, though, with Debbie, right?
Well, it
We
can't.
passed the budget.
It can't, it'll have to start in 2023 because, and we won't even have collected sales tax.
Right.
Screwed.
Right.
So it's, it's moved for next year. We all know that.
Right. So in town hall meetings or in discussions with those folks at ETC. We haven't passed a resolution that says we're going to do that. We all have discussed it with that being the goal. So how firm are we on being able to say that that's what we're going to do, barring some catastrophe? Of course?
It's, Mr. Chair, Commissioner Engen, it will be in the charter itself. So if the charter is adopted and then the resolution is adopted, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's in the resolution and it specifically states the 60, the 20, and the 20 and how it will be used.
Yeah, I know that, but I don't recall it says that these 7 mills that we put in place will be taken off. Does it say that? I didn't see that, so I'm not trying to make a complicated problem here, but that question hasn't been asked of me by people in Northwood yet, but someone's going to ask, say, well, how do we know you're even going to do that?
Well, I guess when we go to the meetings, we talk about it and say it. That's what the plan is. At least all the meetings I've been to. All the meetings I've been to pertaining to home rule. I have stated that it will be used for that to diminish the levy, the 7 mills. And we have to
Diminish it,
get
take it
things
off.
rolling.
What? I mean, will we work off the 7 mills,
Yes.
take them away?
And Commissioner,
That's the understanding of the whole commission, and I'm comfortable with it.
in the interview with the Herald editorial board, it was made very clear, Commissioner Engen, that that's what the 60% would go towards, which is to pay off those mills on. So it's been, and the commission has stated it, it's been in the Herald twice. It's been communicated in all the calls thus far, but
We're actually optimistic that if sales continues to grow, then it'll be. And if that's the case, then that money will go. Tax relief. 17, 18 years down the road, whenever we can spend on it. Anything else, Commissioner Engen?
That's it.
All I've got is the meeting that we were at out at the base, out at Grand Sky. And I've done a number of town hall meetings on home rule. The one at Northwood was kind of small. But we got another one tonight in Thompson, and Larimore tomorrow night.
Yeah, I think we're going to reschedule the Northwood one because of an unfortunate timing incident with the newspaper. Announced the article and the ad went in the day after the meeting, which is somewhat unfortunate.
Okay, I was at a construction meeting on the correctional center and the detention center. That's still in the design phase, and they're trying to come up with how much property we're going to need but it's based on a couple of different designs as to where this new addition will go on the building. So more to come on that when the architects finally decide which would be the appropriate area. As Commissioner Ross said, and Commissioner Engen also, we were all at the Grand Sky event, which was really impressive. And maybe more impressive, I thought, was we had a meeting at Minn Kota Power afterwards. And then the city leaders were there, or city business people were invited to that. And Mr. Rumsford, who's the head of TRMC. I laughed that he was telling me that he wished they had a cool name for it rather than TRMC, but he stuck with this. So, because I said, you should have one like Shazam. They all come up with these acronyms. And he laughed and he said he wanted it, but he stuck with this. But anyway, a wonderful presentation by him. And what I found most impressive was he had a board set up with, I think about 16 companies that are involved in this, along with Northrop and General Atomics and TRMC and and the various military organizations, Air Force, Army, whatever. But 16 separate ones. And of those, he started naming off people, and he called out, 1, 2, or 3 names from Honeywell or whoever is there. And there are big names on that board: Raytheon, Raven, various aerospace technology, defense companies. And of those companies, 9 of them actually sent anywhere from 1 to 3 representatives to Grand Forks to be at that meeting, and they all stood and explained that they were excited to be coming to Grand Forks to take on this program, which will be years in the making out there. Mr. Rumford was excited that what did he say, about 24 of the aircraft, at least over 20 of the aircraft were sitting there on the runway. There will still be 27 out there to be refitted. And that the next project is we need to start building hangars, which was great news for us. And that's construction money and real estate that's going to go up out there. So it was probably the best meeting that I've been to as far as Grand Sky goes. Then we had a brief shelter care hearing with the state, and that went very well. And they're working with us to set up shelter care in Grand Forks. They think it's important, and we're going to try to accomplish that. And that's all I have. Unfinished new business. Anything there? We've got a letter or something.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, I got an email on August 31st from the Upper Great Plains Transportation Institute looking for a letter of support for a grant a federal grant they're applying for. Know more about it.
Yeah. Chairman Paul, members of the board, I got that same notice. I sent the letter of recommendation to this. But I didn't send over opposed there.
Oh.
It was, they're applying for a grant and wanted to know if Grand Forks County would support it. And it was for, is that the one for the bridges on the interstate? It's right between Grand Forks and
This
Danville.
is safety of unpaved roads in the state of North Dakota.
I think this is a different one.
Oh, that's a different one.
But yes, this also went to you on August 31st, but I think they wanted the chair's signature.
I did that one as well too. That came out through,
Yeah.
I did 2 of them today. Yes.
So I think it wouldn't hurt for the commission to do it as well.
Right. It's just our requesting, we're indicating support for this project.
I would make a motion then to support Safe Street letter
For
with
Commissioner Chair
Commissioner
signature. Very
Chair
good.
signature.
We have a second on that. Second by Commissioner Peach. Thank you. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed. Okay. And then we want to come back to you, Mr. West.
Chairman Polk, members of the board, I did a quick review of this document. Obviously, I can't verify the legal description and bearings and distances. That would take some quite a bit of time. Talk about a lot of century code and petitioners, and that seems to all be in order from my understanding of this process. There was two items specifically that I'm not sure are taken care of. Items 54 and 55 on page 13. I should paraphrase, or if you can scan back. Page 13 of 14. Yeah, right there, correct. Yeah. Items 54, the township clerk shall receive this order and within 30 days, no more than 20, shall receive it and record it at the county auditors. I don't know if that was done.
Well, I think that might
that's
be,
what this is.
they'd have to file this order. is what that-
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And they did. They
Okay.
filed that with me.
Okay. The other item is 55. I have not, I'm assuming I'm the overseer of highways of the district. I have not received a certified copy of the proceedings of the township supervisors. I'm supposed to have that. I have not got that. I don't know why I specifically need that, but yeah. Yeah, I got a couple, but I do not have that. Otherwise, yeah, that was my third question was, what are they asking for here?
That's my question, I don't understand.
Oh, sure.
Because my understanding, because vacating section line, it takes a motion of the board. County commission is the only entity that can vacate a section line road, my understanding. Maybe the township has to be involved and approve it, but
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
members of the commission, if I recall in reviewing this matter a few years ago, they're not vacating the section line, they're relocating or moving it. And so I think there's a different set of
Okay.
rules that would apply than if they were actually closing the section line.
no, but it's gonna be closed. You won't have access to it. You won't be able to drive down it. Won't be able to walk down it. It's gonna be fenced off.
Wasn't it gonna go around?
Correct. The road is, but the section line itself would not be available for public access.
That'll be inside the airport property.
Correct.
I did review the relevant statutes with Attorney Tim Dittis at the time that they were going through this, and I think I believe they did follow the correct procedure. I forget off the top of my head exactly what the statute required.
We got, the new road is built. We have right away for the new road. Highway's good. So we had some drainage issues. They've been fixed. We should be good.
So the road's in service right now.
Not yet,
Okay.
but will be very shortly.
Yeah.
Still don't understand what the petitioners are asking for.
I think it's a requirement of law that they file it without the petition, yes. They're following what the law says. File it with us. But I guess we don't have to take any action, I guess. Now that the court has adjudicated the matter and issued these findings, I don't believe there's any action needed.
Right.
Sure.
Nice idea.
I just don't want to call a phone call for something I voted on that I didn't understand.
Right.
All right.
We're not doing it yet.
Maybe we should notice the group that it's filed with us. Maybe Mr. Dennis, as long as he's involved somehow. If they have other questions or they want something else from us, we'll take care of it at their request. Appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. West. Do you have, is that the copy right there?
Yes, would like that.
Yeah, I'll put that back in the file. Thank you.
You sure you don't want to reread it again tonight from your board?
No, good. You good? Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we've come to the end of our program, haven't we? Yes, we have.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Just one notice, tomorrow at All True Hospital, they are having a topping off ceremony at 4 o'clock at the construction site. And then later on, they're having a All True for You campaign. I will be attending this. Good. So Mr. Ross and I will be attending that.
Anything else? Okay, we have a motion to adjourn from Commissioner Ross.
Second.
Second from Commissioner Peach. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned.